you know, obviously you fish from a young age, and then, you know, from that age, you know, how old were you when you really sort of...
I'm feeling my age now. I started fishing when I was about... First ever time I remember my granddad taking me fishing on his boat. I was probably about 10. And then I was in my teenage years, and my mate Gavin used to be into fishing. And we lived in Plymouth at the time, and he used to walk down to fish underneath the Tamar Bridge on the Salt Ash side for cod, and never used to catch them. Lots of whiting and different stuff. I remember 2 o'clock in the morning, him giving me this yellow boiler suit, and we walked up through, and it was like after 2, 3 o'clock actually, sorry, and the clubs must have kicked out, and there was all these girls in the corner, and I'm stood there in this duck outfit, and he's in this flotation suit, and all these girls like laughing and thinking, what are these two noddies doing? And I was like, never again am I coming out with you. Never ever again am I coming out with you. And yeah, we used to sit down, we used to have a couple of Jack Daniels and that, and like sitting and have a beer and that, like with freezing cold, catching the whiting, and like. And then when I moved up to Exeter, I really took it up as a proper hobby and started going fishing constantly, and just like doing the sea, going up to like the channel to cod, like Chesil and like places like that. And then it's where big fish killed it, to be fair. I always used to love going fishing, and I always used to be happy as long as I was fishing and out and just get a dogfish or get a bass or you get whatever pollock, or you could get something, no matter what size, I just enjoy catching fish. And then overnight, I always had an interest of big fish, and then as soon as you go out and you hit into it,
yeah, you realise you're on your doorstep.
Oh my God, yeah. I remember hitting into my first small-eyed ray, and it was... No, it wasn't my first one. My first big one, I think, was like 9.8 or 9.10, and then I was like, I want bigger, and then went out and I got a 10.6, and soon I was like, that's it for me. I love raying. I just used to go raying, and then I never knew none of the marks down on the South Devon coastline, and I would just study, just go for walks, and my missus and the kids would be up on the top, and I'll be up and down cliff faces like finding bits and pieces, looking on Google, looking at thing, and then finding them, and then just going down and fishing it, and then all of a sudden, bang, and then and I just recorded that data, and then it got to a stage where you know what you're doing with it. I can, if I'm not doing anything else throughout the season, I can pretty much go from like January time down through. And follow them and know where they are at the time, and you won't get them every week, get them but you will hit them into them, and you will get decent fish. But out of putting like 150 trips in, 120 trips in, like the other year, like I had 18 doubles out, blondes to 17.10, small eyes to 13, and spotted to 5.10. So it's good fish, and that's what I love doing. Yeah. I don't get a chance to do that. Next year I'm having it all off. I'm going raying all year.
Watch out.
but that's basically what it's about, really. I think it's one of them, isn't it? We've got the project's going to be going from. It's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Right then, we've had some questions come in, and you haven't seen any of these yet, but we've got an angler from Dorset, Dan,
right,
and he wants to know what happened with the arrow in the eye.
I knew that was going to come up. Basically, we at the time there was the Mini Max come out with ammo, and I was asked to go and do something with these Mini Max, and they were perfect size bait. Really, I mean, for like blondes and different stuff like that. We'll go out and get some footage. And one of the venues what I knew were going to be fishing, I won't say where it is because it's a dangerous venue, but most people will know anyway. And we went up there, and it was a cold day in February. Been up there hundreds of times. We had a tent on this place where we were. You actually get cut off on the tide for 4 hours, and we got down there over low water, and there was a few anglers there and that, and
we fished it back over the top of the tide, and around 2 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't the sea. It wasn't like rough. It wasn't like heavy winds and stuff. But we were up on this ledge and we were fishing away. Me and Scott, Bullet Point Mills, and he had a fish on. And he's leaning into this fish, pumping it up. And I went down to land it, and I'm in the water with waders. And then suddenly, I heard this noise at first. What I didn't know what it was. And this boulder come down from. You'll see tomorrow because I'm going to take you to this venue. But the boulder come down from 300 foot high, about half the size, I don't know, 2-3 times the size of a football, missed him by about 1.5 meters, smashed down on this platform, went into pieces, went right into the water. I'm sitting in the water getting sprayed off by the bits, and then there was a landslide beyond the cliff we were on. Due to probably the cold conditions, what was there, it was it was out of our control, really. Yes, it was. If we look back now, we probably shouldn't have been on the venue. It was icy conditions. I've been on there in December and January and done exactly the same thing. Never had a problem, and it was just being the wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah. But it happens to everybody. I know. I took a lot of stick at the time for it, as many people will remember, and I probably handled it a bit less. I probably handled it in the wrong way. Yeah, trouble is we're all men, and when you got people, and Facebook and social media is terrible for it. With I basically say it keyboard warrior, because people just sit there and just type whatever they want, and they're just sat behind a keyboard, and you can't really argue back. You just block or whatever or stuff like that. But I took a little bit of abuse, and I was told to just keep my mouth shut, which I'm not very good at. And I think it was one of the top posts ever on World Sea Fishing Forum, if I remember correctly. There was something ridiculous with viewings, but it was interesting, made people, it was a bit of interesting. But yeah, if I look back now, to be honest, it was. I do feel a bit. Obviously, from Ammo, we lost the sponsorship from Ammo at the time for it, and I've apologised to Ian a few years later and different stuff, and I was a bit upset at the time with the fact the way it went. Obviously, because all the guys what were doing it was we put a lot of time and effort into it, and there was a few people at the time that were waiting for the chance to. And as soon as that happened, it gave them all the ammunition they needed.
Yeah, of course.
Which, to be fair, if I handled it in a more grown-up and professional manner, we could have. It would have passed by. But it's hard when you get people. Everybody's the same.
Just rubbing you up the wrong way.
Yeah, and if I've got something to say to someone, I say it. It's probably not the best way to be in this game, but it's the only way to be. I think in life, if you're going to say something, you've got to say it, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it's bit controversial and stuff, but yeah, that was it was sad really, because it was a good partnership and a connection we had with Ammo Baits, and the videos we were doing was good. We had Steve Gregory over in Wales started up a South Wales team, so then we had the Southwest team, myself, Nick Panther, Scott Bullet Point Mills, Jordan Cove, Wayne McEwen, Dean Bucker, if you remember, was in it for a little while before we went over to Baits R Us, and we had a lot of fun with it. There's still some videos on there now of when we went over to Wales and had some really good days on Greenlight and that. And I remember Dean, you probably remember it, we've done a video on Cardiff Foreshores, which is on there still with him, and all of us looking really, really young. Probably going back 8 or 9 years ago nearly, I think. It was something ridiculous, but it was good times, really good times, and it was sad the way but to be honest, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? That's the way I look at things. Everything happens for a reason, and we moved on, and to be fair, it was for the better in one way, because what happened with the project next and the way it's gone is gone phenomenal.
Up, isn't it? Strength to strength.
Next question.
Right, another question we had in was from Chris, and he wants to know what your all-time favourite production is that you've done.
All-time favourite? I actually had one of these questions come in the other week on there. For all-time favourite of what? Will's £20 Blonde on the Reef was an absolutely amazing production. I enjoyed making it. I enjoyed running around the reef like a madman, filming it. When we're out filming, it's not always a case of having to. It's hard, isn't it? You know what?
I know what you're trying to say.
It's like you've got to wait for it. You've got to get a fish. Like when you get a fish, sometimes you go out and you're not even going to do a production, and you get the fish on. And as soon as you get a fish on, you automatically instant is camera. So you've got a camera there, and that's what happened with Will. I was fishing next to him. His rod went over, and he come back up, and I was like, he's got Andy, fish on. So camera in my hand, I'm running down, I'm getting all the angles and stuff like that, and next minute you know a £20 blonde comes in off a reef. You and that's one of the reasons I do what we do, because and why I started doing it, because we're showing stuff what's never ever seen before in the UK, never ever. And some of the stuff like Rob York and Mark Bryce and Scott Clark,
the stuff they had on video the other year was catching 29-pound blonde rays from the shore. So they all had 20s off the shore, and you have footage of that, and especially with my skills with the camera and different stuff like that, is unreal. It's stuff which you'll never seen. No, never ever seen. No.
Unless you're the bloke holding the rod, you're never going to see it.
Never see it. And it's what a lot of people miss out on and stuff like that. And that's what I do. I love bringing that sort of stuff, and that's what I'm about with my style of the production stuff. Like that. Then the second one is that turbot.
To have that on footage is unreal.
It's a cracking fish.
And I'm doing a bait up, and I'm doing actual production for the ray hunt series we were doing. And I'm like doing up the ray like that, doing the thing, casts out, boom, puts one out in there, comes back in, starts doing another sand deal bait like that, looking up, there's a couple of knocks, and you can see me on there. I'm thinking it's a dogfish. I've missed the initial hit, because I've been busy baiting up and stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting there thinking, it's nothing big. And it didn't feel it. It must have been like going in towards me as it was coming in. And as soon as it got in, and I don't know, as soon as it was in to it knew it was coming in. It started putting up a bit of a real big fight. The SU was like that over, and I was just holding back, leaning back. You can see me. It took me on my feet at one stage, so I was like up like that, and I was just keeping the tension. And the surf's running a little bit as well. I was up like that, and then you can see Eddie, and Eddie's like. Beep. It's a beeping turbot. It's a beeping turbot. And I didn't want to. I should have edited it a little bit, and I did apologise for the language and stuff, but I couldn't edit that because that was
it's the moment.
It was the moment, and I think people appreciate that. I did have a swear word in it, but at this day and age, I think everybody has a swear word. It's not like it used to be, but it's that sort of stuff there. But that would be two of my favourites. But for my favourite made and put together was the first episode of Specimen Hunter
with Mr. York.
Well, it's not. It's not just me doing it. It's we do things as a team, and that episode, and the viewings and the audience and the feedback we've had from you guys about that episode and the messages I've had come in and different stuff, it's phenomenal. There wasn't even no fish caught in it. I had a bullus, and Rob lost a fish, but there was no actual fishing. Most of that air was about talks.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people want to. It's not all about fishing all the time.
No, it's knowledge.
They want to hear
tactics.
about. They want to hear about fishing. It's not about going fishing and catching fish all the time. It's everything. That's what the project's about. Everything to do with fishing. And I'm quite happy to sit there and speak to that guy for 48 hours non-stop drinking Red Bull and just listen because I'm like a sponge. As Mr. Pope said to someone the other day, and I am. If someone says to me something about fishing, I absorb it. It goes in there and it stays in there. If it's a mark, if it's like anything, it just goes in there because that's the only way you're gonna learn. And when you're going around guys like that, you got to.
Yes.
You got to.
Yeah, for sure.
That episode there was your film work on it was superb.
The way you come down over and out. I know we went through some stuff and stuff, but the starting, he was up and down the cliff face like a mountain goat. He's there one minute, me and Rob stopping like that, and he's coming through in different angles, and it was superb. It looked really good. And then we got down there, and Rob's first time on camera talking. To be fair, and I didn't even know that was going to happen.
No.
Because I've tried to get him on camera before and he wouldn't have none of it, and he done superb. And what I liked about him, what he said at the time, it was so easy. But the same as like when I've done that thing with Chris Fass, and what we're doing now. It's natural. I feel natural doing it, and I'm like when I'm sitting down here talking to you, you're just bouncing back off each other.
Yeah.
And like obviously Rob knew what he was talking. I was talking about what I was talking, and we was all mixing it in together. And I think it helped a lot of people out. A lot of people enjoyed the pulley rig. What we've done.
Yeah, that was.
A lot of people
really
was like the tip with the flask, keeping the sand deals. We were out all day yesterday, from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4:30. I think we got in this morning.
Yeah.
And we had the sand deals frozen in our flasks.
Don't buy a cheap flask.
No, you got to get a decent flask.
Yeah, it's got to be a decent one.
Flask, but that would be the answer to my question. Yeah, the Specimen Hunter episode 1.
Favourite.
And there'll be more to come. We've got some really, really good anglers going to be in this. I know a lot of people are not liking the fact that it's all based on the southwest at the minute, but what people got to appreciate is I'm based in the southwest, and I know a lot of these anglers what are there, and half of them are in my club. I'm lucky enough because
You got like Rob Wheaton, one of the best anglers in the UK by far. The fish he has out is phenomenal. So that's the same as Yorkie. And Mark Bryce is exactly the same again. It's like you've got 3 anglers there, or I know you people, they probably don't hear about them further up the country. Maybe not because of you might see the England team and stuff like that. They're not those sort of guys.
No,
these guys are catching specimen fish.
Yeah, big
they're
fish.
catching in percentage wise, like they're like club anglers. Each year are at the top of their game.
Yeah, always up there.
And you look out through in the year, if you look on our club, especially one of them would be there, next one would be there, next one would be there. And I was looking back this morning at different years, and you see some of the fish they've had, and they're like 180, 200 and something, 300. You're thinking they're like, these guys are at the top of their game.
Yeah.
You don't get better.
No.
You don't get better.
And all that's through knowledge as well.
Yeah,
not
unreal.
luck, is it?
Unreal.
Not-
No,
to do
and
it once
there's
is luck.
guys up. There's not just the southwest. There's guys. There was a guy in North Devon. I want to get him to do the specimen on the series. Never top rod. There's guys in Wales which I'm going to get involved in it. And that's what we put a post on the other day. And you're based in North Wales. If there's guys what people think he could be really beneficial to that, get hold of us because James is up that neck of the woods. He can go and do some filming with him and go a bit of fishing with him. We've got loads of members in the team now, and it's not a case of thing. And I don't want to be having my mug on camera all the time. These guys are doing the job as well. He does a really good job on camera. You've got Ryan doing the lure stuff and that. Fantastic angler, really good on camera. Craig Pope, exactly the same. He's going to be doing the Down Under series when he moves to Australia next year. He don't know that yet, but I'm giving him the camera and he's got to do it for me. And then you've got like Lee Treby. He doesn't do a lot of camera work because he's working at the moment, but he still helps out when he wants. If people want to know tips, now I can get on the film and do stuff like that. But that's what it's about, really.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyway, that's enough on that question. Next question.
Right, we've got a question from another viewer asking for a first-time rod, don't want to spend a huge amount of money, £100 or thereabouts. What would you buy?
What would I buy? For £100?
For £100.
M Sport series, I would say. I've casted a few and that they seem to have decent rods and they're cheap enough to buy. It's something I'd go for if you're going to go for that end. It's a budget end, isn't it? If you want to spend a little bit more money, that new Sonic's ZGX 250 or 225, whatever the one that Yorkie's got in a minute.
That's a lovely rod.
What a rod! I was hell of impressed with that rod.
For the money, that's a hell of a bit of kit. I'm actually thinking about buying a pair. Honestly, for Chesil and stuff like that as well, because it's got all the poke in it you need, and it's got a lovely tip action. And so I know Ziplex and Century, they go mad on it, but that is genuinely
good
hell
rod.
of a bit of kit, that Sonic rod.
I mean, I held
lovely
it.
rod band. That I'm actually going to do a tackle test with Yorkie on it because I was really surprised. It's a hell of a rod, really good rod, and I think some of the shops at the moment, I think Vils are doing a real good rate on it as well. So if you're after a new rod, that's definitely worth checking out because it's really light as well, isn't it?
Very.
The bill's
very
cracking.
It's got quality components in it as well.
It reminds me
of
T900, Century T900, but at a ridiculous cheaper rate. Hell of a bit of kit, well worth checking out. But that would be the rods I would be looking at. The DB, they've borrowed DB2 as well.
Yeah, I was about to ask about that.
Yeah, that's a hell of a bit of kit. To be fair, for casting, it'll put a bait out at range, no problem at all. Big bait, no problem at all. And I've had a couple of fish on it now, and it handled it well. We've had nothing big on it, but I know full well it works.
Yeah, it's got the
problem.
backbone.
Yeah, and it's at a good price as well. So that's another one, obviously worth checking out.
Next question. Craig from Eastbourne was wondering, why did you leave Total Sea Fishing to go to Sea Angler?
I can't answer that on camera. To be honest, it was a no-brainer really. I've always enjoyed reading both magazines. Growing up, I was always a big fan of Total Sea Fishing because of Steve Gregory and Wayne McEwen and that were doing a lot for it then, and obviously Nick Panther as well. But I've always bought both magazines, to be honest, when I was growing up. But I think it's an odd question really. It's when Total Sea Fishing was under Barney Wright.
Yeah, he was lucky enough to have loads of really good contributors. Yeah, he had like a good team of Adam Landy was doing, Nick Panther was doing it, and he
he was looking, and then obviously Barney Wright left and went and started that Ever magazine up, and unluckily then all the contributors went with him, and I think at the time, obviously that's when I first started doing it. That's one of the opportunities I got given, and that was down to Paul Dennis, to be honest. And he a fantastic bloke, to be fair. And I think he's done a cracking job, Paul Dennis, with that magazine, because he's had to come in with nothing,
and
had to start the magazine over again. And he's done a really good job with it. But with Sea Angler, when I got offered it with Sea Angler, you're up there with the top guys, and you've got Emery Gilby, Dave Lewis, Dave Barham, Chris Clark, and you've got the guys who've been doing it like for years. Shane Pullen, one of the guys. Obviously, I always enjoyed reading his articles as well, and it was just, I don't know, it's like stepping up a level, I think, in a way. Nothing against both magazines. I enjoy reading both magazines, to be fair, but it was a no-brainer to me. I spoke to Total Sea Fishing, and obviously said what I was going to do, and there were no problems at all. There's no bad conflict between nothing. It was just that.
Just to move up.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that question to come in, to be honest, but yeah, there you go.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, it's all right. Next question.
What would be your favourite all-time bait?
Favourite sand eel.
You're a rain man, so it's got to be up there, isn't it?
Sand eel for me. Yeah, to be honest, sand eel by far. If I was only allowed to fish with one bait, sand eel all day long. Sand eel all day long. And I've had some cracking fish. I'm not just on about rays. I've had big huss fishing for ray.
Yeah. The mat we were on last night used the big cod and bass.
I've had cod off take it later on in the year while raying down just outside of Plymouth. I've had bullis over £13 on it while raying on £20 line, which is just thing. I've had £11 6 turbot on it. But I've had, what else have I had? It's a nice bait, bass. It's a bait. It's a quality bait. A lot of people like peeler crab, and it's sand eel for me because of rays.
Yeah.
But one thing I will say is quality is the key. Honestly, you need a quality bait. No matter where you're getting it from, it needs to be of a quality standard, and that's what you get with like ammo baits, hookers baits. And there's like, if you're ordering it online and different stuff like that, you need to make sure it's looked after and it's sent to you out in good conditions and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's like it's one of them really, and it's no.
Yeah.
As Yorkie said the other day, if you get somewhere and it's all confidence lost. If you've got somewhere and you're cutting that heel head off, and it's it's going to go out there and it's going to start bleeding, put a scent off in the water, and I've used ammo for years and years and years, and what a fantastic quality eel. And like it's the same with like hooker baits. It's all quality gear.
Yeah,
you need that in fishing.
Yeah,
you need that in fishing.
No,
that I would say it's same with like worm. If you go into a shop and you buy some worm, you think, oh my god, look, it's stated out. What's the point of buying it? Well, we'll just chuck it in the bin straight away. It's not worth it. Just don't go fishing. As Yorkie said. It sounded like him a bit then when I said that. That's where I got that comment from, I think. Yeah, but that's exactly what he said. Just that's one of them, isn't it? But
next question: what would be if you had to pick a reel to start out with, what would you go for?
A reel? Depending on what you were looking for, really. If you're after a reel for like general beach work and different stuff like that, or you want something all round, Penn or Dower, I would go. The Slosh 20 it's a cracking
That's stood the test
reel.
of time, hasn't it?
It really has. It's bomb proof. It's a reel you can use, chuck it in your tackle box, and you can use over and over and over and over again, and they're bomb proof. They don't break very easily. They are a quality bit of kit, and then you've got the 30s, what you can use for congering and stuff. For money now, the Penn 525 Mag 2 you can pick up for cheapest chips. I think Veals were doing a really good order for them, and Seaview Angling, they got a really good promotion on them, I think, as well. And to be honest, I would my favourite reel was the Fathom.
it needs to be magged. For casting anyway, it won't. If you're looking at, you want something what's going to put you at distance and you can throw easily, the Fathom is a really quality reel, and especially with Phil Stairs, the mag he puts on them is a quality mag. Chris Macy does another quality mag for him as well. There's a few guys doing the reels. I think if you can't get them magged, I think Veals actually do.
Yeah,
do
that's where I got mine from.
You can purchase them from Veals magged already, which is another nice touch. But yeah, I would say, but if you haven't got the money to buy one at brand new, half the time eBay, you can pick up second hand, and they're quality reels, but are still good. Most people look after them and that. You can do maintenance them and that, and and just service them basically.
Slosh, Daiwas, pens.
Yeah, so
second hand.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, I would look at this. Akios, they got some nice reels. Abu got some nice reels. There's a lot of reels in the market which I haven't actually used, to be honest, but I like cranking power. And I want to reel what I know, because the fishing I do needs to stand up to it.
Yes.
It's all about,
It's horses for courses, isn't it?
You get into big rays and big smooth hounds and big fish, you need something what's going to got the cranking power to get it, because how the other guys used to land some of these fish on like the 6.5s with the rods they used to use is unreal, because it's I like a lot of bullying power. If it's over rough ground, I want to be able to lift that fish. I want the right tools for the job. So that's down to my type of fishing, but not necessarily everybody needs that sort of fishing. 6.5 is a cracking reel for the beaches. I know a lot of people use them and stuff for that, and like the Super Tune Millionaires I've got are fantastic. It was a lot of money, but you can get the Millionaires and you get the 7HT blues as well, mags, which are another quality reel. So there's a lot of reels available on the market, but I would say just whatever you can afford. If you can't afford one of the good reels, look second hand. Because they are well looked after, as long as you look after the reels, and half the time you can get a really good deal on them. But yeah, that would be my case for the reel. So next question, Mr. JCD.